So if we wanted to focus on supporting the visual cueing system for students once they get to multisyllabic words or complex and irregularly spelled words, then we want to think about being both incidental knowledge and systematic knowledge development. So we know that one of the principles for developing word knowledge is that it should be systematic. It should follow that predictable developmental sequence for language development in general. And that means that we probably do have to plan it in advance. We have to say, for this week or for this unit, these are the sounds, or these are the syllable types, or these are the letter patterns that we want to focus on in this order. But students are also exposed to text that has lots and lots of different sounds and syllable types in it. And so we have to have a plan for supporting them through the ones that we haven't studied yet, haven't gotten to, and also the ones that maybe we've studied but they are still struggling with. And so I have a picture of Sesame Street here because I think they do a really nice job of being both systematic and incidental when they're trying to expose students to letters in this case. So you know how they have, like, every episode is brought to you by the number 5 and the letter L, or whichever they choose for that episode. Well, the letter L is going to make lots of appearances in the show. That's not to say that they don't also show other letters, but you're going to see lots of things that start with L or end with L or need L to do things. And you also are going to have one explicit introduction to the letter L. And so that is basically the idea, that we want to explicitly introduce kids to whatever the pattern is, but then in their independent reading and in our read alouds and in guided reading and every other part of the day, we want to be finding opportunities to reinforce what we've decided to teach them. The other thing that happens incidentally is kids will come across sounds or patterns that we haven't taught yet. And so just like with vocabulary, we don't stop and do a whole vocabulary lesson for every single word that a student doesn't know. Sometimes we define on the fly and move on. And so sometimes when we come to syllable types or irregular spelling patterns that we just haven't gotten to yet, we coach kids through using a word attack strategy, and we'll talk more about those later. We coach kids through, but we don't stop to do explicit instruction, because remember, explicit instruction requires an investment of time and some planning, because we have to clearly say what the rule is. We have to model how you use that rule as a reader and a writer. We have to let kids practice it with feedback, and we're not doing that for every single sound that a student doesn't know in their book every day. We are looking for opportunities to reinforce the sounds we're thinking about this week or in this unit all throughout the school day. And as we come across others, we are coaching kids through so that they get practice working with words they don't yet have the answer for, but they know how to kind of work through them, and reinforce what we are explicitly teaching them in a developmental sequence that we know will accumulate into a solid foundation kids can build on.